Hey guys, Michael Pizzulo here. I want to talk to you about gay men and more importantly, why monogamy is a good thing. So if you're in the gay community these days, open relationships, ethical non-monogamy, even polyamory are very common themes, relational dynamics, part of our vernacular. And it just seems more often than not that if you meet someone who's gay and in a relationship, that they're exploring some sort of open dynamic, which is perfectly fine. But I want to make the case for you about why monogamy actually is healthy and why, if that's what you want, it's perfectly great. So I think right now there's been a lot of celebration of stepping outside of cultural norms and feeling as though that monogamy is a construct that was created for heterosexual couples, which is true, fair enough. And this idea that if it wasn't designed for us, should we have to fit into it? Is it limiting us? And so on and so forth. So I definitely see the argument and the reasoning for wanting to, step outside of monogamy, but I don't think we should be abandoning it altogether. And here are a few reasons why. So first is that we just don't know enough yet. I mean, sure, people have been exploring all kinds of different, relational sexual dynamics for quite a long time. That's nothing new, but we don't have a lot of data to really evaluate objectively how satisfying folks are finding these dynamics and what the long-term implications are. Even us in the mental health field, I think that we're kind of learning as we're going and we're making sense of it as it unfolds, but we don't have enough long-term research and data to really prove or talk about how effective this is in a more objective way. So I would just give you that caveat to start. The other thing is that I think that we talk so much about the benefits of open relationships, which mainly is like the varied sexual experiences and fun and so on and so forth. But we don't talk very much about the benefits of monogamy. And truly, I think you have to think about all the things that you don't have to experience. You don't have to worry about STIs, for example, scheduling things, jealousy, so on and so forth. There's a lot of hurdles that you get to avoid, but also too that I do feel like in our culture, we prioritize short-term satisfaction much more than long-term satisfaction. And monogamy is a construct that's used to strengthen relationships for the long run. So sure, you don't get the short-term fun that a outside sexual experience might bring you, but are you investing in something that's going to give you results in the long term? So I would think about that, about which benefit is more important to you. Also, my biggest complaint, I think, when I hear people discuss this is that, people are aware that if you are in an open relationship, it can very easily elicit, insecurity, jealousy, trust issues. I don't care how confident you are, even the most secure person on the planet is going to have some insecurity come up if they're navigating something like this. So I think, we've got to normalize that part. But also that people act as though that if they just, communicate, that they can overcome any of these problems. And I don't care how much communication you practice, if your significant other is ditching you at home to go hook up with someone else, you might feel some type of way about that, no matter how much they, communicate that to you. So I think if we're gonna, talk about this, we have to talk about it in terms that are more real. Human beings, we're sensitive. Our feelings get hurt quite easily. Feeling as though someone's choosing someone else over you, again, no matter how you phrase it or how you communicate it, I think it's gonna sting. So I think we gotta get a little bit more honest about that as well, that just, communicating doesn't solve all the problems. And then lastly, I would just really boil it down to this concept of you kind of have to choose what benefits and what risks are more important to you, because you can't have it all. You can't do it both ways, right? You kind of have to pick. And sure, you can try one dynamic out, and then if your partner wants to, you could try a different one, that's all fine. But ultimately, if you're going to commit to something, you're going to have to pick either being open or closed. And there's pros and cons to both. And I think it's all about deciding which benefits are more beneficial to you, and then which risks you're willing to tolerate. I don't think, because you can't have it both ways. You can't do both at the same time. So I think it's just making that personal decision, but really knowing that there's pros and cons to both. And I don't think one is objectively better or worse for anyone. So I hope this was useful. I really do think that the benefit and the gift of being, gay, LGBT is that we do get to make our own rules. So we do get to, introduce new concepts, and we don't just pick up like the, foundations that have been left for us before. So I think that part is so liberating. But it doesn't mean that some of the structures or traditions are all bad. And if you're someone who feels more inclined towards them, then there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So I hope this was useful. I'd love to hear Your thoughts, let me know in the comments.